All right, so officially we're in spring, but we're in Jamaica, so we're already feeling the summer heat. And although there's a certain someone who says climate change is fake news, I beg to differ. And I'm sure the director of the Meteorological Service Division, Mr. Evan Thompson, feels inclined to agree. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
Welcome to Smile Jamaica.
Thank you.
I was suggesting this morning it's not island-wide. Is it island-wide?
No, you mean the drought?
Yeah.
No, it isn't, actually. Overall, for the island, we're seeing rainfall maybe about 70% of normal. But
70%
of normal. But that doesn't really qualify. In a 1 month period, it really doesn't qualify as drought. But we are seeing drought conditions where we have rainfall below, say, 60% of normal for 2 months or more. That is occurring in a couple of our parishes, three of our parishes actually. Portland in particular is worthy of mention because Portland is known for its rainfall. In a regular April month, they would get over 250 millimeters of rainfall. And this year they're only seeing about 60 millimeters.
Wow.
So it's like 30% of the normal rainfall that they experienced in the month of April. St. Mary's also pretty bad, just about 40% of normal. St. Elizabeth comes next in terms of percentage of normal that they experienced in the month of April, just about 50% or so. Kingston is edging toward drought, but in itself, Kingston and St. Andrew is seeing enough rainfall. There are some areas in Kingston and St. Andrew that are getting rain almost every day.
Where?
There was a caller from a section of Norbrook that called me a few days ago saying that, and this, Norbrook is in the corporate area.
Yeah.
They have been experiencing some amount of rainfall almost every afternoon in some areas there. So there is some rainfall because, there's the usual buildup of rain over the hills. Yeah, the usual buildup of rainfall over the hills, the clouds, and so if you're living in certain areas, you will get it. Even parts of St. Catherine, parts like Linstead, that area tells me they get rain almost every day.
Is it that the rainfall that's coming to those areas, or the rain is coming in areas where there are no catchment facilities?
That is where the concern is, because where the water for the corporate area is dependent on rainfall in the river, the watershed areas that supply the reservoirs, whether it is the Hermitage Dam or the Mona Dam or the Hermitage Reservoir. And those areas are not getting enough water. So the rivers that are feeding those are not getting enough water, and that's the problem for the corporate area. The pipes are dry, but there are some areas that are really getting rainfall. And if we look all the way to the western part of the island, there's a lot of rain occurring in the west. Some section, Westmoreland in particular, is getting more than its normal amount of rainfall. Also Trelawney, more than the normal, like about 30% more than normal occurring in those areas. Hanover is getting quite a bit too, and I mentioned Trelawney. St. James a little bit low, but there are some areas that are really getting
I'm
good
actually
rain.
surprised because we were talking before. I've heard water restrictions before. Don't do this, don't do that. I don't remember it being so serious that if them catch you as of today, them going to lock you up and all kind of thing. I don't remember hearing that
We've
too
had
often.
it before.
Yes, we have had it before where, if you are caught breaching the restrictions, you could be charged and you could be
As
locked
I said,
up,
I've heard before that you must
You have the
water.
restrictions,
Yeah, I've heard the
yes.
restrictions. But this is
Yes.
almost a surprise to me because it sounds like we're in dire straits, but listening to you just now, it no necessarily sounds so.
The problem is you started out by talking about climate change. And what we are seeing is a departure from what we are used to seeing. Because what would normally happen is that the majority of the rainfall occurs in Portland and St. Mary. The west would be dry. So now we are seeing the water occurring in the west, and where we're getting our water from is dry.
Yeah, and then
We're
I
in
think
Kingston.
the PM did say that this is a proactive measure, right? As we inch closer to drought.
To the drying out of the
Right.
of our
So it's not that we're
reservoirs.
in drought now, but I guess this is in a bid to.
Right. Well, there are some areas that are actually declared to be experiencing drought.
Okay.
Some are moving toward it if
Those
we continue
areas
in
would
this
be?
trend. Those areas would be those parishes that I mentioned, the Portland, St. Mary, and St. Elizabeth. Those are the three that we're right now saying we are experiencing drought. There are some that are close to, like St. Thomas is also very low. St. Anne is pretty low as well.
Yeah.
So we're watching really. We did expect, though, that during May going into June, we would have normal or maybe even slightly above normal rainfall. But because we haven't experienced that much so far in May, and we are almost to the end of May, we're kind of getting a little concerned, because if this is a rainy period of the year, and if we don't get it now, when we get to July, which is usually a dry month, we may be in for some more trouble. So it is proactive. You have to restrict the amount of water that is being used. We should restrict how much we demand of the water, you know. I won't say less strenuous activity that will need the showers, but I mean, we do need to reduce the amount of water that we use.
When they say one dam is 20-something%, one is 30-something%.
Something like that I've been hearing, yes, somewhere in the 20s.
So how much rain we need to get it up to normal?
We need some good rain.
Like
if we need the rain that we would normally get in May, and the departure is not helping us.
So usually from April on is like April showers.
Right, it's May and going into June that we normally get some good rain. And it usually starts almost on clockwork at the beginning of May. But we have already gone 3 weeks into May.
Minute and a half to go.
Yeah, so
hurricane season.
Hurricane.
About that.
You're supposed to call me back about hurricane season. This is drought time. But right now, the hurricane season is looking like it's going to be almost normal. We're seeing some signals that are saying that we should see a more or less normal hurricane season. It might be a little above normal, but remember, you only need one storm. So, you know, we also need only one storm to bring some good rain. So maybe we need a storm. Who knows?
No, but can you imagine we're at that point where we're saying we could use a storm?
We could use something that will give us some. Right now, the good news is that this weekend we could see some rain.
This weekend?
This weekend.
Like today here?
Like today, tomorrow, we could see some rain, even in the east. Because there is a trough that is producing some of the rainfall that we usually see in May.
Okay.
And so we could see a little bit of an increase during this weekend.
Island-wide?
But as we move, island-wide, yes, but mostly to the west again.
Okay, which is where
But for
they
today and tomorrow, we could get in, especially in the afternoon, in the corporate area and other eastern parishes.
What about seeding clouds and stuff? We ever get to this stage that
seeding? We have done it before, but it's not. It is a very scientific process that you have to go through, an investigation to see what is happening, and it is a little bit risky, because where you can turn on the tap, you can't turn it off. You start the rain, but you can't really stop it. You could have flooding, and you could also get the rain where you don't really need it. You can build up these clouds with nice rainfall, and then it dumps it over the sea. We are a small island, so if a little wind moves it over the water, that's it. You waste your investment. So it's really a risky venture,
So
but it is something we have tried
We
before.
just have to hope Mother Nature just does her thing.
Yeah,
and
pray. That's what we need to do. We need to pray.
Pray for rain.
Pray for
All
rain.
right, Ella, so let's pray for rain, everybody. Just
Thanks,
pray
my friend.
for-
But you said this weekend we just might.
We should get a little bit, yes. Yes.
You should, we will, we might. We
most likely will get rain, an increase during the weekend.
Kingston
most
and St.
likely
Andrew
between
area.
today and Sunday. Even Kingston and St. Andrew. Look for a little this afternoon and a little tomorrow morning.
all right.
Yeah, man.
If you say so. I go in St. Thomas tomorrow. If I reach and I don't get no rain, I say, Heaven.
I went turn off my phone.
Director of the Meteorological Service Division. Why can't be so long? Why can't you say Met Service
That's what
Division?
I
You
used to
can
do
say
when I
that.
read news and
I
I read
bet
news.
of-
When I see that word there, just say Met. And I don't know which day going to decide to trip me up. No
Everyone
way.
talks with us. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, stay with us, folks. We're going to meet the 16-year-old collaborating with Sly and Robbie. What? Soon come.